Welcome back to AlphaCars and Royal Enfield Boston. My name is Ian, and today we're taking a look at this brand new 2023 Royal Enfield Himalayan. And we're calling this the Himalayan Adventure because we have outfitted this brand new bike with a bunch of cool goodies from our online store, including these pannier racks, the fork-mounted driving lights, engine protection, heated grips, and the list goes on. So we will go over those things in this video. And we'll check out the Himalayan itself. We'll learn some specifications, learn about the operation, as well as some really cool features. So whether you've just purchased one and you want to put some accessories on it, or you're thinking about purchasing one, you're in the right place. You found the right video. Hopefully we're going to be able to get you to a decision today. So let's get into it. I'm reporting from our Boxborough showroom. So if you may be wondering what this motorcycle is next to the Himalayan, it's a Ukrainian bike called a Nepper. So there's always specialty things to see like that at our locations. But now getting back to the Himalayan, first we're going to start out by talking about the warranty, then we'll get into some specifications, talking a bit about the operation as well, and finally finishing this video off with going over those accessories. So first off, the warranty. 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. Just think about how much riding you can do in 3 years, and especially you have no mileage cap on that. So this just really shows how Royal Enfield stands behind their product, and the build quality, the design, the fit and finish is excellent on these bikes. They're really European quality, and we sell hundreds of these a year, and we see little to none come back for warranty concerns. I personally can't think of the last time we had one come through worth mentioning. So that's really impressive, especially in the motorcycle world. You'd expect maybe a 2-year warranty at best from most manufacturers. So that's just a notable mention. And now let's get into some specifications. Let's start with the beating heart. It's a 411cc single cylinder 4-stroke, single overhead cam. It is fuel injected. So we see behind that engine mount there is a throttle body with a fuel injector in the top. So the fueling on these bikes is very good, very smooth. The cold starts are excellent. The first thing you'll notice when riding a motorcycle is how the tuning is on the engine management, and that really will make or break the riding experience of a bike. And these are really fine-tuned in that aspect. And then it does have a 5-speed gearbox, and it produces 24 horsepower and 23 foot-pounds of torque, so very adequate, and it produces most of that down low, which is great for if you're in the trails or in a technical situation. It is air and oil cooled. We can see one of our accessories is this oil cooler guard. So we have these nice fins on the cylinder, aiding in keeping it at a safe operating temperature, and then that external oil cooler. And now touching on the fuel economy and the tank capacity. It's a 4-gallon gas tank, so plenty of room there. And then with a 75 mile per gallon rating, many miles to get out of one tank and not be worried about fuel stops or being stuck somewhere remote. And then the wet weight, 439 pounds. So relatively lightweight for a bike this size, kind of like a middleweight or lightweight adventure bike. So, and what I mean by wet weight, that's the actual weight you'll be handling, you'll be maneuvering, as that includes all the fluids required to ride. Now touching on the suspension, we've got 7.9 inches of travel in the front and 7.1 inches of travel in the rear. We've got this nice 21-inch front wheel and then a 17-inch rear wheel. So with that 21-inch front, it's really going to get up over any obstacles you may foresee out exploring. And it comes with these great dual-purpose tires that grip well on the road, and it'll make it handle stable off the road as well on gravel and dirt roads. And now braking performance. We have a 240 millimeter disc in the rear. It is drilled, and a single piston caliper. And then up front we have a 300 millimeter disc, once again drilled, and then a 2-piston caliper. And the Himalayan does have ABS front and rear standard, And the rear ABS is defeatable, so you can lock up that rear tire and slide around when you need to on loose surfaces. And later in the video, going over the operation, I will show you how to disable that with a button on the dash. And the Himalayan has 8.6 inches of ground clearance and a nice bash plate or sump guard underneath, so you're protected if you do get into some very rough terrain, but I doubt you'll be using that very much with all that ground clearance. And now checking out the seat, you can see it's a two-piece design. It's a 31.5 inch seat height, so I really like that Royal Enfield made the seat height on this adventure bike, you know, very approachable, as most of the adventure bikes on the market have a pretty high seat, which can be very intimidating and cumbersome when you're riding technical terrain. So I'm gonna grab the key and show you how the seat comes off the machine. And now having the key in hand, we can see the slot for it is right here. So I'll insert that, give it a quarter turn, which releases this rear portion of the seat. So we lift up like so and pull it out. And we have a little storage area for maybe documents or whatever you need to keep there, plus the factory toolkit. And then the front portion of the seat, then you just lift up like so. And you've got access to your battery as well as various fuses and components. And now to reinstall, all we're gonna do is set this lower portion or the front portion down, slide it forward, and then this rear portion, you're kind of doing the opposite with this tab on the back of it. You're kind of setting it in and pushing it back. And then you're just gonna push down and it locks in, it locks both in. It's a very easy and intuitive design. I really like that. So taking our key back out, I'll put that in the ignition. And now before I get on the Himalayan and walk you through the controls on the dash, check it out, it's on a center stand. Something that a lot of modern motorcycles don't come with anymore as standard. So these are standard on the Himalayans, and this saves you from spending hundreds of dollars to buy one and have it fitted on your motorcycle if it hadn't come with one. So the center stand makes storage very convenient as the bike is straight up and not leaned over, and it makes maintenance items like chain maintenance very easy and safe as well. Or if you're trail side and need to replace a tube or make a repair, that enables that to be done in a safe manner as well. So now let's get on the Himalayan and talk about our controls. So welcome to the cockpit of the Himalayan. First, I'll touch on when the bike is on the ground, as it's on the center stand right now. I'm 5'11" and I can flat foot the ground with a slight bend in the knee. And we have our shifter for our 5-speed gearbox. On the left and on the right, we have our rear brake, standard motorcycle setup. Looking at the handlebars, once again, standard motorcycle controls. We have our clutch, low beam, high beam. Our momentary high beam or flash to pass is on the back. Our blinkers, which are not self-canceling, so you do have to click to cancel those. And then our horn. And on our throttle side, obviously throttle, front brake, our run and kill switch. The Himalayan does have hazards as standard, which is really cool. So you do have to turn on the ignition first, then turn those on, and then you can turn the ignition off and they'll stay on. So very safe feature. And we have our start button, of course. So turning these back off, let's turn on the dash. So we have our speedometer, tachometer, a fuel gauge, and then a little compass in the right corner there. The fuel gauge, I love that. It's on newer motorcycles. There's no guessing or having to look in the tank every once in a while. You just have an actual fuel gauge. And looking at the multifunction area at the bottom of our speedometer, we can see we have our time, the ambient air temperature, our odometer, as well as a trip A and B. And we use this button on the right to go through our trips. So we have trip A, our average speed for trip A, trip B, and average speed for trip B. So very cool feature that Royal Enfield incorporated with having that average speed, which can be a helpful thing when you're on a longer trip to see how well you're making time. Now, Let me start it up for you. This does have the performance muffler on it, but we are indoors, but I'm just gonna show you how sweet and easy this thing starts with the fueling. So, starts very easy, cold starts are very smooth. The on-off throttle response is great too. So Royal Enfield really has dialed in their fueling. And now touching on the ABS, you have to be running and in neutral to disable the rear ABS, but you would do that using this button right here. So as I said, idling, engine running, in neutral, you push and hold this button for 5 seconds and your ABS light will blink, letting you know that the rear ABS has been disabled for that key cycle. Next time you shut the bike off and start it, ABS will be reactivated for that rear wheel. And a note as well, when you do start the bike, the ABS light will remain on until you roll forward a few feet, as the ABS sensors have to get a signal before that light goes out to make sure the system's working properly. A note for 2023, if you may have researched the older years, some of them have a little pod right here, their tripper navigation system. That's no longer standard for 23. You do have to option that from the factory, so that's just a note. And now let's start getting into the accessories that this Himalayan has. As we can very clearly see, we have our Ram phone mount with the X-Grip system. We have our Barkbuster Storm handguards. There is a note, you do have to tweak the frame on these. You have to just barely bend them in a little bit towards the back of the bike, because for the 2022 and up Himalayans, they will slightly contact the edge of the windscreen if you don't do that. But on all these products, they're all available on our online store. They will be linked in the description, and we will have videos out or coming very soon explaining all these products and some of the installation tips and going more in depth with those specifically. Our heated grips, we have a 5-level controller here, which works awesome. These get nice and hot. What I usually do is crank them to 5, let them get hot nice and fast, and then dial it down to your preferred heat. And this does have some fork-mounted LED driving lights, so that switch is right here. And their output is very impressive, and them being fork-mounted, they do follow where you're turning. So it's almost like having kind of a high-end automobile with the active curve illumination following where you're turning, where you're about to be riding. So that is a very cool feature. And we have our Jivvy tank bag. So we have a clear area to have a phone or GPS, various pockets, 6 liters of storage total, and we have it magnetically attached, so it's very easy to get to your fuel filler, which is lockable, or it is locked, I should say. And then there's just the safety strap that goes around the head tube or the front of the frame for this Jivvy bag. So very high quality and a lot of room for your items. Checking out those fork-mounted LED driving lights that I mentioned, you can see nice aluminum housing, very high quality. Here at Royal Enfield Boston, we actually designed this kit. All the wiring is very high quality, and we can see this custom bracket that uses the fork clamp, a factory location on the fork clamp. This bike also has the headlight rock guard installed. We have these Jivvy engine bars, which are braced and mounted in 3 locations. So seeing we have it mounted at a frame point here, engine mount right here, and then another frame point right here. So I really can't foresee these bending or tweaking. It's really going to protect your investment and just give you peace of mind. So if it did have a mishap and tipped over, or you're on a trail and tipped over, you're not going to damage any vital components. We have a Royal Enfield performance muffler. It does have a baffle you can remove if you want things a bit more rowdy. Very clearly we have the Royal Enfield pannier set for the Himalayan. Checking it out from the rear, we can see nice high quality brackets. These are very easy to remove, and once you remove them, these brackets don't stick out farther than the muffler. So if you want to ride some tight trails and not worry about the additional width of the panniers, then you can just remove them and enjoy that. And we have the aluminum guard on our oil cooler. It is very thick. If you look around back, you can see the thickness. It's really going to offer a lot of protection if road debris or something was to get up in there. And lastly, we have an H4 LED bulb that I forgot to mention when I was talking about the headlamp guard. So that, coupled with these fork driving lights, very confidence inspiring at night, and you're going to be easily seen by others on the road. We all know riding motorcycles is a blast, but we always try to be as visible as possible to be as safe as possible. Thanks for watching this video. I hope I've helped you make a decision on a certain accessory or on the Himalayan itself. If you have any additional questions that weren't answered in this video, definitely give us a call, send us an email, visit our website, alphacars.com. We'd be happy to talk to you, as these bikes are our specialty. Please leave a like on this video. We can't do this without you guys, so we appreciate the support. Consider subscribing so then you're in the loop when we do have new specialty automobiles, Royal Enfields, Urals, and cool accessories to offer. And this has been Ian reporting from our Boxborough showroom, and I wish you a great rest of your day.